Hello and welcome to The World Today. I'm Zhongshi in Beijing. Chinese authorities are briefing the media on preparation for the Hangzhou Asian Games scheduled between September 23rd and October 8th, followed by the Asian Para Games from October 22nd to 28th this year. Officials will take questions from reporters. Let's go live to the scene.
女士们、先生们，大家上午好。
Ladies and gentlemen,
欢
good
迎出
morning.
席国务院新闻
Welcome
办
to
新闻发布
today's
会。
press briefing.
第19届亚运会、
The
第4
19th
届
Asian
亚残
Games
运
and the
会
4th
将在浙江省
Asian
杭州市召
Para
开。
Games will be held
今
in
天我们非常高
Hangzhou,
兴
Zhejiang
邀
Province.
请到
Today, we're very glad to
杭州亚
have
组
with
委
us
副主席、国家
Vice
体育总局
President
副局
of
长、
the Hangzhou Asian
中国
Games
奥委
Organizing
会副
Committee,
主席
Vice Minister
周进强
of
先生
the General Administration of Sports of China, Vice
杭州
President
亚
of the
残组委
Chinese
副主
Olympic
席、
Committee,
中
Mr.
国
Zhou
残
Jinqiang,
联副理事长赵素京女士、
Ms. Zhao Sujing, Vice President of the Hangzhou Asian Para Games
Zhejiang
Organizing
副省长
Committee,
Li
Vice
Yanyi
Chairperson of the
先生
Board of Executive Directors of the China
杭
Disabled
州亚
Persons
组委
Federation,
亚残组委副
Mr.
主
Li
席兼秘书
Yanyi,
长、
Vice Governor of
杭州
Zhejiang
市市长
Province,
姚高原
Mr.
先生、
Yao Gaoyuan, Vice President and Secretary
杭州
General
亚组
of
委
the
亚残
organizing
组委
committees,
执行秘书
and
长、
Mayor
杭
of
州市副
Hangzhou,
市长陈卫强先生。
Mr. Chen Weiqiang, Executive
请他们为大家
Secretary
介绍
General
杭州
of
亚运会
the
亚残
organizing
运会筹
committees
办
and
情况，
Deputy
并回
Mayor
答大家的
of
提出的问题。
Hangzhou to brief
下面
you
我
on
们
the
首先请
preparations
周
for the
进强
games
先
and
生
answer
做
your
介绍。
questions. First of all, some opening remarks by Mr. Zhou
各
Jinqiang.
位媒体朋友，
Friends
大家
from the
上午
press,
好。
good morning.
杭州亚运会
The Hangzhou
将于
Asian Games
9月23号开幕，
will be
这
opened
是
on
党的20
23rd
大胜利召
September.
开之后，
This is
我国
the
举办的
first
规模最大、
and the
水平
largest
最高的
and
国际
highest
综合性
level
比赛事
international comprehensive sports event held in China
是国民
after the 20th CPC National Congress,
2015年8
and they
月
have attracted the attention of the whole country and the
就对
world.
杭州
In
寄
August
殷切希望
2015,
他说
General Secretary Xi
相信
Jinping
杭
made
州有
instructions
能力举办一届成
and
功的
expressed
亚
his
运会
confidence in Hangzhou's ability to host a successful Asian Games.
全面贯
Over the
彻
past
落
8
实
years,
绿
the
色
organizing committee has followed the approach of
开放
holding a green,
廉洁的
inclusive,
办赛理
open,
念
and
和
clean Asian
简约
Games
安
and
全
make the
精彩
event
的办赛要求，
streamlined, safe,
科学
and
谋划
splendid.
精心组织，各
The
阶段
Games is
各
well
环节
planned
的
and
工
will
作
be well
稳步
organized,
推进。明
and
天
all work
将
is
是
pushed
杭州
ahead in
亚
an
运会
efficient
倒
and
计时
orderly manner
100天，
as planned.
各项筹
Tomorrow
备
will be
工
the
作
100-day
已全面进
countdown
入
for the
冲刺阶
Games,
段，
and we're now in the
各
final
单位
run-up.
紧锣密鼓，各环节建制加
All
进，
departments
整体上
are making
平稳有
the
序。
final efforts
我重
in
点
an
介绍4
orderly
个方面的情
manner,
况。
and I would like to focus
一
on
是
4 areas.
亚洲各国
First,
报名踊跃，显示
we have
强大
seen
吸引
good
力。
registration
目
from
前
Asian
亚洲
countries,
45个国
which
家
means that
和
the
地区
Games
奥委
have
会
great
全
appeal.
部报
All
名参赛。
45 national and
其
regional
中
Olympic
有
committees
很
have
多
registered to
将派
participate,
出历史
and
上
many of
规
them
模最大
will
的代表
send the
团
largest
参加杭州亚运
delegations
会。
in
可以
history.
看到，亚洲各国各地区体育健
We
儿
can see
对
that Asian
杭州亚运
countries
会
and
充
regions
满期待，
look forward
热切期盼
to
来到
the
中国，
Games
来到
and
浙
look
江，
forward to
共
coming
享盛
to
举。
China, to
这充
Hangzhou,
分说明
to
杭州
celebrate
亚
the
运会
event together.
是亚洲体育团结合作的
This
重要平台。
shows that
也显
this
示
Asian
出
Games
党
is an
的
important
18大以来，
platform
我
for
国经济
solidarity
社
and
会
cooperation
高质
among
量发
Asian
展
countries in
和骄
sports.
人成绩和强
And
大
it
吸引力。
also means that
体育
China's
不
high
入
quality
架桥
development
文明交流
is
互
part
鉴，
of the
相
reason
信
why this
这将
Games
是
is
构建
appealing
亚
to
洲命
athletes.
运共同体的
It
生
will
动
also
实践。
be a platform for building a
二
community,
是
an
杭
Asian
州亚
community
运
with
会
a shared
场馆
future.
全部准备就绪，
And
功成
secondly,
验
all
收，与
venues
惠
are
民
ready.
利民并行。亚
We
运会比
have
赛
conducted
将在杭州
inspections
以及宁
and
波、
they are delivering
温
public
州、
benefits.
金华、
The Games
绍
will be
兴、
held in
湖州
Hangzhou,
6个赛
Ningbo,
区
Wenzhou,
举办。
Jinhua, Shaoxing, and
目
Huzhou.
前56个比赛场馆
Now,
全部完
all
成赛事
56
功能验收，
venues have
具
gone
备了
through
赛事
functioning
运行的功
inspection and are ready
杭
to
州亚组
host
委
the
将赛事
contests.
筹办
The
与
organizing
服务民
committee
众
has
充分
combined
结
holding
合。
the event with
亚
people's
运会因疫
needs
情
for
延期之
sports
后，
facilities.
亚运场馆
After
全部
postponing,
为民开放。
all
截止目
the
前，
venues
已
are
接待
open
市
to the
民健
general
身
public.
超过
And
800
they
万
have
人。
received
亚
over
运会后
8 million
各比赛场馆
people.
将继续坚持
After the
为民
Games,
开放，
they will stay
并
open to the
定期
public
组织
for
体育赛事、
regular
文化演
sports
出
and
等活
cultural
动，
events
进一步满足
to
人民群
meet
众的
people's
生活
need
需求。
for a better life.
第三，建成赛
Third,
时运行
we
体
have put
系
in place an
全
operation
要素
system
测
for the
试全面
competitions
覆盖，
and held
按照
pressure
统
tests
一指挥
to
条块
ensure
结合
centralized command,
反映
effective
快速的
vertical and
赛事运
horizontal
行要求。
coordination,
亚
and
组委
rapid
构建了以
response.
56
The
个
organizing committee
竞赛
has
场馆
built a
团队
command
为
system
基础
based on
17个
56 competition
专项
venue
团
teams,
队为支撑，
17
城市运
item-specific
行
teams,
为保障
and
的赛
municipal
事指挥调
services
度体系，确保赛事指挥调度和应急保障
to
能力
enhance
达到
our
要求。
capabilities
目前
of
已举
organizing
办了
and emergency
42 场
response.
测试
Up to
赛，
now,
下一
42
阶段
test
还想继续举办
contests
13
have
场
been
测
held,
试赛，
and
对赛
13
事
more
组织运
will be
行、
held
软硬件
to
运行进行
do
全
pressure
压力
tests
测试。
on competition
充分做好
organization,
准备。
hardware and software facilities
第
to
四，
prepare for the
中
formal
国体育代
games.
表团全力
Fourth,
出战
the。 Chinese delegation
目
is
前
ready to give their
国家
best
体育总局
performance.
正开展
Now, the General
中国体育
Administration
代
of
表团
Sports
的组团
is
工作，
forming
届
the Chinese
时
delegation,
将有900多名
which
代
will
表中国
have
最高水平的运动员
900
参赛，
top Chinese
与亚
athletes
洲
to
各国
compete
家和地区的
with
运动员
participants from
同场
other
竞技。
Asian countries and
杭州
regions.
亚运会是中国体育健儿的主场，也是备战巴黎奥
They
运会的
will be
阶段性检验。
on their home ground,
他们
and this will also be a
将
test
全力
for their
争创佳绩，
preparations for the Paris
展现
Games.
良
And
好
they will
风貌，
try their best
夺
to
取
deliver
运
good
动成绩
performance
和精神文明。
as well
双丰
as
收，
demonstrating great
请媒
sportsmanship.
体朋友们继续关心
We
支
hope
持
that we will
杭州
continue
亚
to
运会、
have your
亚残
support
运会，
and attention
帮助我们
for our
把
effort
工作做
to
得更好，
hold the
举
Asian
办一
Games
届中国特色、亚
to
洲风
deliver a distinctly
精彩纷呈
Chinese,
的
truly
亚运盛
Asian
会。
and
谢谢大家。
magnificent games. Thank you.
下面我们请赵素金
And
女士
now
做
I
介
would
绍
like to give the floor to Ms. Zhao Sujing.
各位媒体朋友，大家上午
Friends from
好
the。press, good morning.
我向大家介绍一下中
I
国
would like
运动员
to
参
brief
加
you
杭州亚残运会的参赛准备情
on
况。
Chinese athletes' participation
以习近
in
平
the
同志
Asian
为
Para
核心的
Games.
党中央对
The
残
Party
疾人
Central
事业
Committee, with
格
Comrade
外
Xi
关
Jinping
心
at its
格
core,
外关
pays
注。
special attention
中国
to
残
physically
联
challenged
作为
groups.
残疾人体育工作的主管部门
And，we,
党的
as
18大
the
以
competent
来，
authorities in this regard, since
坚
the
决贯
18th
彻落
CPC
实
National
习近平总
Congress,
书记
we have
关于
implemented
残疾人事业
General
和体
Secretary
育
Xi
事业
Jinping's
的
instructions
重要指
on
示，提
taking
示精
care
神，
of
落
the
实
disabled
党中央
people
和国务
and
院的
developing
决策部署，
disabled
广泛开
people's
展
sports.
残疾人康
And
复
we
健
have
身体育活动，
extensively
全力
engaged
备战杭州亚残运会。
in
中
the
国
preparations
体育代表
for
团呢参
Hangzhou
赛本届杭州
Asian
亚残
Para
运会，
Games.
我们的参赛目标是
Our goal
代
for
表团规
participating
模与
in
东
these
道
games
国地位相适
will
应，
be that the size of the
继续
Chinese
保持
delegation
领
will
先地
continue
位，
to lead
取
as
得
the
运
host,
动成绩与
and
精
we
神
will
文
try to
明双
achieve
丰收，
both good competition
确
results
保实
and
现
show
办
sportsmanship,
赛精彩、参赛
or
出
in
彩
other
的
words,
目
we
标
will。try to be outstanding both as the
目
host
前
and as
我
the
们正在
participant.
积极备战、集训
And now we're
和
actively
参加
preparing
各
for the
项
games
国际赛
through
事，
training and participating
为
in
组建
international events
残疾人国家队
to
做
form
好
the
准备。
national teams.
今年以来，
Since
我们
this
共
year,
组织了
a total
田径、游泳等17支队伍，600余
of
人，分别
over
在
600
北京、
athletes
上
from
海、
17 teams,
福建、
including
江
track and
苏、
field and
山
swimming,
西、
have been
广东、
receiving
河
training
北等省市
in
开展集训。
training bases in
截
Beijing,
止到
Shanghai,
5月底，
Fujian, Jiangsu,
我们
Shanxi,
共派
Guangdong,
出
and
了
Hebei.
16
By the end
个
of
出访
May,
团组
16 delegations had been
参加国际赛
sent
事，
to participate in
共获得
international events,
128 枚
winning
金牌、
128 gold medals,
115枚银牌、
115 silver
95枚
medals,
铜牌。
and 95 bronze medals.
杭州亚残运会
The
国家
Asian
集训
Para
队
Games national
将于
training
今年
team
7月
will start
在
training
北京、
in
浙
July
江等训练基地展
in
开集训。
Beijing and Zhejiang.
代表团拟于
The
10月成
delegation
立。目
is
前
scheduled to be
杭州亚
formally
残运
established in
会备赛
October.
工作进入
And,
到压线冲刺阶段。
Now, the
下一
preparation
阶
for the
段，
games
我们
is
将
in the
重点做
final
好以
stage,
下几个方面
and
的
we will
工作。
focus on the following
首
aspects.
先是获
First
得
of
更
all,
多的
to
参赛
secure
名额。
more seats
我们要通过参加
by
国际赛事，获
participating
取积
in
分，
international
获得国
competitions for grades and scores to be qualified. And secondly, we will prepare for the competitions, especially in key sports. For example, track and field, swimming, table tennis, wheelchair fencing, weightlifting, badminton, cycling, and visually impaired judo are some of the promising sports for the Chinese delegation. And in the athletes' training, we will give priority to these sports in terms of human and financial resources, in participating in other events and equipment. Thirdly, we will ensure the services for the national teams. Since all disabled athletes are not career athletes, we will coordinate the resources of the Federation to provide support to the athletes and help them to prepare for the games. Fourth, we will encourage them to demonstrate sportsmanship. We will encourage the national teams to carry forward the spirit of the Beijing Winter Olympics and show the vitality of disabled people in China in the new era, thus demonstrating the progress of the cause of disabled people in China. Thank you.
Now let's welcome Mr. Li Yanyi. Dear friends from the press, good morning. First of all, on behalf of the Zhejiang provincial government, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to you for your interest in and support for Hangzhou Asian Games and the Asian Para Games. President Xi Jinping attaches great importance to the two games. General Secretary Xi Jinping has the instruction that they have the confidence that Hangzhou is capable of organizing a successful Asian Games. At the current stage, the overall preparatory work has been completed. First, build a coordinated and efficient command system. We established Hangzhou Asian Games General Headquarters and 5 sub-headquarters in the 5 co-host cities, and work closely with relevant departments and OCA and other international partners to facilitate the implementation of the works. Second is to create a first-class competition environment. All 15 competition venues and 31 training venues and other facilities, including villages and also sub-villages, are already ready for accommodating guests and are completed and passed the acceptance inspections for event function. And a province-wide initiative was also launched that aims at improved urban life and governance. Third, provide professional and meticulous services. A full circle service will be offered covering arrival, departure, food accommodation, transportation, translation, and Medicare. We have set up the first online one-stop platform to meet the audience's needs, including ticket purchase, travel, game watching, accommodation, dining, and sightseeing. We have recruited 50,000 competition volunteers and another 1.42 million urban volunteers, so as to provide warm service to all the guests. Fourth, create a strong and enchanting atmosphere. Thematic activities such as Asian Games 10 City Tours, Asian Game Fun Run, and 2022 Asian Game Aspiration has been organized. The venues of the Asian Games was all opened to the public before the Games, which set precedence. Tomorrow marks the 100-day countdown to the Games. We will hold the flame lightning ceremony at the ruins of Liangzhu City. a World Cultural Heritage Site.
100天主题活动上
And we will also release the medal designs and promotion songs at
我们将始终牢记
related events.
习近平总书记
We will always keep in mind General Secretary
只
Xi
争
Jinping's
朝夕
expectation.
全力冲
We
刺
will seize the day and spare no
7月
effort in
完
preparing
成所有测试项
for
8月
all related
完成
events.
综合演练 9月
We will
完
finish
成
rehearsals
所有
in
其
August,
他的工作
and
来
all related
全
works
面
will be
迎接
completed in
各
September
番来宾
and stand
我
ready
们
to
坚信
welcome
在党中
guests
央
from all over the
坚强
world.
领导下，在国
We
家
believe
部委
that
和
with
兄弟省
the
市的大力支持下，
Guidance
一定
and
能够
leadership of
圆
the
满
party
完
central
成
committee
各项
and
筹办
related
任务，为世界
governments at
奉
all
献一
levels.
届中国特色
We believe
亚洲
that
风采
we will provide
精彩
the
纷
world
呈的体育
with
文
a
化
distinctively
盛会。
Chinese, truly Asian and
我们
magnificent
欢
game to
迎
the
我
world.
们广大媒体朋友们继续关注。
And also, you are all welcome to
杭州亚运
continue
会
to pay attention
亚残运会
to
谢谢大家。
and participate in the two
下
games.
面我们请
Thank
姚
you
高
all.
原先生做介绍。
Now let's
各位
welcome
媒
Mr.
体
Yao
朋友
Gaoyuan.
大家好。100
Dear
天
friends
之后
from
啊
the
第
press,
19届亚运会
in 100 days,
将在
the 19th
杭州
Asian
开
Games
幕。
will kick off in
这
Hangzhou.
是继北京、广州之后，中国
This
城
is
市第3次举
The
办亚运
third Asian Games in China
自成功
after
申
Beijing
办
and
以来
Guangzhou.
杭州已结5个协办城市，始终
Together
牢记
with
习近平总书记
5 co-host
相
cities,
信杭州
Hangzhou always
有能力
kept in mind
举办
of General
一届
Secretary Xi
成功的
Jinping's instructions
亚运会的
that Hangzhou is fully
先进
capable of
步
hosting a successful
全
Asian
面落
game.
实简约、
We have
安
fully
全
implemented the requirements
精彩的
of organizing
办
a
赛
streamlined,
要求
safe, splendid
精益
event.
求精，全力以赴
We are
来
striving
做
for the
好
best
各
and
项
spare no
亚
effort
运
in
的筹
promoting
办
the
工作
preparatory work.
一是全域提
First,
升喜
all-round
亚运
enhancement
我
of the
们的
region.
亚运场馆建设
The construction
坚持
of
能
Asian
改
Games venue
不建的原则
adheres to the principle of renovation
16
instead of
个竞赛场
replacement
馆当
and
中
rebuild,
只有
renting
12
before
个场
buying,
馆
borrowing before
是
renting.
新建场馆
Among the
其他的
56
都
competition
是改
venues,
建或者是零建
only 12 are newly
31个
built,
训练场馆
and the rest are
全部
renovated venues
为
or
改造场馆
temporary venues. All
目前
13
已
training
经
venues are
全部
renovated
完
venues.
成赛
Together,
事公
all
路验
venues
收和无障碍验收
and their barrier-free
杭州
facilities have
516
passed
公
acceptance
里的轨
inspection.
道交通网已经建成
516 kilometers of railway transit
480
network,
公里的快速路
480
已经成
kilometers expressway
我们
network
将
in
新
Hangzhou
提这
has been
39个入
completed,
城口
39 entrances
215
into the
条
city,
亚运
and
通行道路
250 commuting
全面
roads
扮亮
for the
城市的
games have been
每一个
upgraded.
角落
Every
以人
corner
间
of the
天
city
堂的独特韵味
has
吸
been
引
fully
八
decorated
方来
to
客
welcome visitors from all over the world.
二是全程智能筹办亚运
Second, digital
我们
technologies
迭代
appliance
升
in the
级数字
preparation.
化办赛平
We
台
have
亚运在
upgraded
线
the digital organizing
打造
platform
一站式
Asian
的
Games
数字
Online,
观赛服务
created
平
an
台
online
智
one-stop
能亚
service
运一站
platform,
通
Smart
推
Hangzhou
出了亚运
2022,
史上首个数字化
launched
巨手
the first ever
上
digital
线亚运
torchbearer,
pass 落地
launched
自动
the
驾驶
Asian
智
Game
能
Pass,
公交等
implemented
以
automatic
数字
driving
化手
smart
段
buses,
来提升
and other
筹办工作
applications.
效率和服
By
务
doing
保
so,
障
we
的
use
效率
digital means to improve the
充分
efficiency
展
of the
现
preparation
数
and
字
related
中国的
service,
建设成
and
果
fully demonstrated achievements of building of digital
三是
China.
全面协同保障亚运
Third, fully
我们已经
coordinated
设
and
置了
support the
一
Asian
加
Games.
四的
We have set up
离口岸
1+4 arrival and
已经
departure
确定
ports
85家的
and
官方
determined
接待饭店
85 official reception hotels,
实行运动员村、技术官员村、媒
implemented
体村
integrated planning and
一体规划
construction of
一
villages
体建设，
for athletes,
已经
technical
完成
officials,
亚
and
残
media
运村
personnel.
727
We have
套
completed
无
the
障碍
upgrading
客房
of 727
15
sets
大
of
类无障
barrier-free
碍
guest
设施的
rooms
升级改造，
and 15 categories of
将以最优
barrier-free
环境、
facilities in a
最佳
para
状
games
态
village.
迎接亚洲各国
They will be
各地
ready
区
for
的村民
residents
入
from
住
all countries and
目前
regions at their best.
主协办城市的场馆运行团队已经全
The
部到位
operation team
实行
of the
一管
host and
方案
co-host cities adopted
强
the
化全
principles
要素实
of
战
different
演练
venues, different
努力
solution.
提供细致、周到、
They
专
are
业、贴心的
Rehearse with all elements and strive to provide
实施
meticulous,
全民
thoughtful,
参与
professional, and
共
considerate
享亚运
services.
我们践行
Fourth, full
全
participation
民
of
亚运
citizens.
共建共享的
In line
办
with the
会初
principle
衷
of Asian Games
开创
shared by
了赛
all
事场馆在赛前
All
向公
competitions
众开放的先例，
and training venues
累计已
have been
经
open
接
to
待
public
建设
and
人
received
次800多万。
more than
我们
8
开展
million
亚
visits
运的
before the
城
games.
市品质、城市治理、
we have launched a comprehensive initiative aimed at enhancing urban life and governance. To this end, the city has also organized more than 10,000 activities under a publicity campaign, and developed 4 scenic routes named Beautiful Homeland, Street and Alley of Hangzhou, Smooth Transport and Blooming Hangzhou. 95% of barrier-free facilities in the cities have withstand quality tests, 297 subway entrances, 28 pedestrian bridges and tunnels, and 1,573 urban public toilets and other barrier-free locations can be found online with navigation services. And around-the-clock free sign language service are also provided. A famous poem goes like this: Dreaming of Southern Shore, it is Hangzhou I adore. We sincerely invite friends from all over the world to gather together in this beautiful and vibrant Zhejiang to enjoy the games, explore our culture, appreciate the beautiful mountains and river, and leave unforgettable memories. We're waiting for you. Thank you all. Thank you for the introduction. Now we're open for questions.
好，请大家开始提问。先这边吧，第2排这位男记者，对，穿红衣服。
你好，中央广播电视总台央视新闻的记者，想问一下周进长副局长啊，就是亚运会的项目设计其实还有很多特点和特色的。
There are many different characteristics and features of the game sets of the Asian Games. So compared with the Olympic, what are the differences?
Thank you for your question. And according to the requirements of the Olympic Council of Asia, and after consultation with Asian sports federations, and taking into account the need of and the characteristics of Zhejiang in its economic and social development, we set 40 sports, 61 disciplines, and 483 events. They almost include all Olympic game sports, including track and field swimming and other, and also some of the other sports, including wushu, sepak takraw, cricket, karash, and jiu-jitsu, and other disciplines special to East Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia, Central Asia, and West Asia, and also sports popular with young people, including skateboarding, sport climbing, and esports. They reflect both Olympic elements and also provide an opportunity for Asian countries and regions to show their own specialties, thus demonstrating the diversity and inclusiveness of Asian cultures. Thank you.
继续提问。第1排吧，第1排这边这位女记者。
谢谢发言人，人民网记者提问，请问杭州亚运会、亚残运会筹备过程中都遇到了哪些困难？
What are some of the difficulties in preparing for the Games? As we know that the time is not quite long for the preparation, how do we ensure the smooth transition of the two games?
好的，这个我来回答一下这个问题啊。
I will answer this question.
筹办一届重大的
Indeed, organizing a grand sports event is very difficult. As a matter of fact, people have very high expectations for the Asian Games. And the scale of our game is also the largest in history. So we do face many problems in the implementation and preparation work.
生物的安全通道，同时呢，要经过世界动物卫生组织的认证和欧盟的认证，所以一系列情况都。
In the process of several events, we are facing with several questions from both home and abroad, and we do lack of experiences and related talents.
再加上呢是疫情的困扰。
And also, we're also facing with the challenges of the pandemic. We have determined 72 experts who cannot come to China due to the pandemic. Through video conferences, we have managed these differences, these difficulties. And also, after the postponement, we also faced many other problems. For example, contractual and legal risks. We have signed over 3,000 contracts, and we have to sign additional 800 contracts in this process. We have learned the lessons and many experiences from the Winter Olympic Games. We also send out officials to study the organizing process of the Winter Games, including other major events, sports events. As I mentioned about the contractual and legal risks. And the next is about the introduction of talents. And with the support of related government, related departments, we're able to form an operation team with personnel from all sectors. We also hired experts to guide us through the preparation. Actually, at the current stage, we have already held more than 40 test games. Through this test game, we are finding problems and trying to address these problems. As you have mentioned about the transition period of the two games, we believe that it is indeed a challenge, because we are a team under two banners. So, in terms of our team, there's no need to transition because that team will work in the two games. But it do requires planning in advance. For example, the stations of athletes, there are 3,900 athletes for the Para Games, and more than 1,000 athletes will arrive on their wheelchair. It will require us to upgrade our facilities.
We're trying to ensure smooth transition by using the same information system for both games. And also for the design of the stadiums and venues. So we only need to change the slogan and the logo. We have made specific and detailed plans and also practice in advance for a rapid transition between the two games. And that is my answer for your question. Thank you.
第一排那位男记者。
谢谢新华社记者提问。
Thank you, Xinhua News Agency.
副主席，今年我们将迎来杭州亚残运会，明年还会有巴黎残奥会。
This year,
那么想请问中国残联是准备如何？
the Hangzhou Asian Para Games will be held, and in next year, the Paris Paralympic Games will be held. So may I ask how the China Disabled Persons Federation coordinates the preparations for the two games?
I'm sure your question is one of our focus in the preparation work for the two games. The 22 sports, 19 events of 19 sports of the 22 sports of the Para Games of Hangzhou are qualification events for the Paris Paralympic Games. First, the Federation has set up two leading groups for the Games to coordinate the preparation for the two Para Games.
其次呢，就是我们在
Second,
训练和
in the process of organizing trainings and participation in international races, we also coordinate the preparation work for the two games.
积分资格，这样就列入我们优先考虑。
For example, for point races,
同时呢，在
will be one of our priorities for participation.
也是会把2个运动会所具有的项目。
And also, in the process of training, we also coordinate the preparation of the two games.
通过杭州亚残运会
Third,
参赛
through
筹
this
备
Asian
赛
Para
过程当
Games,
中吧，进一步选拔人才，
we will be able
选拔
to
优秀的
select
运动员，
a number of young
积极准
athletes
备参加明年的巴黎残
for
奥
the
会
coming Paris
相
Paralympic.
信呢，中国残疾人体育代表团不仅要在杭州
We are
亚
sure
残运
that
会上取得运动
the
成绩
athletes
和精神
will not
文
only
明成果
achieve
我们同时也要在
great results
2024年
in our home
巴黎
ground,
残奥会
but
上
also
取
will
得
win
运
glory
动
for
成绩
China
和精
at
神文明
the
双重
Paris
谢谢。
Paralympic Games, achieving both sports achievement and cultural and ethical advancement.
后面吧，第4排那位女记者。对。
谢谢浙江日报记者提问，就是
A question from
据了解，目
from
前
Zhejiang
杭州
Daily.
亚运号地铁定日专列已经成功开通，能否介绍一下它的特色和亮点，以及
We know that
赛事
the
计划
theme subway train for Asian Games is officially in operation. Can you introduce the highlight of it? And what are the new measures will be taken for the transportation construction of the 5 coast host cities
好，谢谢你的
to meet
提
the
问
needs of the event?
我来回答你问题。我的问题2个方面，一
I will
个
answer
是
the question from you.
地铁亚运
There are
会
two aspects of your question.
这个本届亚运会
First is about the Asian Games
第
subway train.
19届亚运会，
This is
我们
the
亚运区
19th
有一条街
Asian
命名为
Games.
19街。
There's a street
那我
in
们杭
our
州地铁
athlete
今年
village
5月16号
named
开通的
19th
一条
Street.
新线叫19号线。
And also,
在
we
这个
recently
19
opened a
号
new
线上
line
的
named
运
Metro
行
Line
的
19.
就刚刚您提问
On
的
this line
亚运号地铁列车，
runs
这个亚运
the
号有
Asian
3个
Games
特点
subway train that you
一
mentioned.
个呢是为亚运会量身定制的。
The train is actually
这
tailor-made
个
for
这
the
列车
games.
的车头悬
The
挂
front
着
of the train
亚运会会徽，
has emblem,
车身
the whole
以
body
及
of the
座
train,
椅扶手
as
都
well as the
采用了
seats and handrail
亚运会主形象色
in
就
the
是红
carriage
运
use the
红运
purple
紫
tone from the main image color of the game.
车身内外绘制亚运会口号
It is all covered
愿
with
景
slogans,
会徽
visions of the
等
game,
核心元
emblems,
素。
and other core
可以
elements.
说啊，这个亚运号是流动的
I can say
亚运
that
风景线。
it is a
第二个
mobile
特点呢，
Asian
亚
game
运号所在的
icon.
地铁这个19号线啊，
And when it
贯
comes to
穿
line
杭州萧山
19,
机场
it is a
杭州
backbone
火车
line
东
running
站
through Hangzhou
和杭州
Airport,
火车
Hangzhou
西
East
站
Station, and West
这
Station.
个这3个站啊，是我们杭州的3大交通枢纽。
These three are
那么这
important
条线呢，
hubs
是我们
for
杭州
transportation in
地
Hangzhou.
铁骨干核心的线路。
And as said, it is the
在
backbone
亚运
lines
期间
for Hangzhou.
亚运号专列将成为迎接
During the
海
games,
内外宾客的
Line 19
应该
will
说
be
最
an
高
important
频的
window
运输线。
to welcome guests from home
30
and
乘坐
abroad.
亚运号地铁换乘其他线路，
And passengers can
可以
also transfer
便捷
to
到达
other lines
杭州电竞中心、
to rich
黄
venues
龙
such
体育
as
中心
Shanghai,
等22个
China Hangzhou
亚运
Esports Center
这个
and
实现
Huanglong Sports
一次
Center.
换乘，场馆直达。这个我们在亚运期间啊，这个杭州市
During the Asian
将
game,
在这个沿线场馆沿线的地铁啊，我们
we
还
will
会
also
设置一些小
set up
语种的翻译服务，
language
包括
services
这个坐地铁的导
along
航等等。
different
这是
subway
关于
stations.
亚运号
And also
第二个
travel
是关于
guidance will be
你提的
provided
这个
in the set posts.
这个城市这个交通的问题。
And second part is about
我们
the
浙江
upgradation of
也是办好一
transportation
个会，提升
of Hangzhou and
一
other
个省的理
coast
念
cities.
以杭州亚运会举办为契机，推动
We
全
see
省
this
交
Asian
通
game
高
as
质
an
量发展
opportunity
这个
to
特别
enhance
是
the
主办
development
城
and
市杭
transportation
州
for this
和
region.
5个协办城市宁波、温州、福州、绍兴、金华。那么1+5主协办城市
Together
应该说
with other
迎来了
5 other
交通高
co-host
质量发
cities,
展的重大机遇。
we are we are now seeing great opportunities of advancement in our transportation. Renovation projects, including highway expressways, new bridges, has also been built that is now open for operation. The operation network of the games reaches 516 kilometers. It ranked 6th in the whole country. Two sets of railways is now in operation, especially the Fuxing bullet train featured with digital technologies will also be put in use. The increasingly dense high-speed railway network will better serve the games while accelerating the high-quality integrated development of the Yangtze River Delta region.
第二排，这位男记者。
谢谢主持人，我是红星新闻记者。我的问题是，据了解，浙江
Question from 5
建
Star
设
Red
数字
Star
浙江，
News.
杭州打造全国数字经济第一城的优势。
Zhejiang is building digital Zhejiang. Hangzhou is building the leading city of digital economy in China. The Asian game Hangzhou will be all about intelligent solutions. The first one-stop digital service platform became available in 2021. What service can the platform provide to give the audience better experience?
这个问题我来回答一下吧。其实现在我们这次亚运开放办赛之后，有很多的观众。
Now, since we are open to the public, we have a large audience, and it is also one of the top concerns for the audience how digital services can help them improve their experience. During General Secretary Xi Jinping's work in Zhejiang province, and he made very advanced plans for developing digital economy. And actually, digital Zhejiang is our top priority, and digital transformation is an overarching reform agenda for Zhejiang. And digitalization is empowering and enabling various industries and sectors. Against such background, we proposed the concept of a digital-enabled Asian Games to make it a highlight. And just now you mentioned our application for Asian Games. It is a typical scenario of application. In international comprehensive sports events, such a kind of a one-stop digital service platform is the first of its kind in the world. In 2021, it was made available. 3.3 billion visits have been made by over 50 million users. It has many functions. For example, you can enjoy all the services for watching the games through the application. You can see the schedule of each event, what will happen in this hour, and we will also provide cultural event information on the application, tickets information, and other supporting services. Through artificial intelligence, audience will have tailor-made and one-stop services on the platform. As for transportation, the application can also provide relevant services. What is the easiest way to travel to one stadium or a venue? The application can give advice with the main destinations of the venues and the stadiums. If you would like to travel by subway, by bus, or by cycling, we can also provide the best solution to you through the application. And the application also offers information about cuisine. China is a country of delicate food, and Zhejiang is also a province of good food. And this is also part of the experience for the audience. And by using big data, we have selected top restaurants in the city and also help you to enjoy food from other countries. For example, if the audience or the cheerleaders, they want to find Japanese food, they can log on to the application to find where they are. And also tourist sightseeing. And the application also provides language services, because many of the audiences don't understand Chinese, and we have 6 languages: Chinese, English, Japanese, Korean, and Arabic, and other languages. It has a strong translation function. Even if you don't understand Chinese, there's no problem for you to travel between the venues and watch the games. Besides the above-mentioned functions, we also use the application to launch a digital torch relay event. We both have physical and digital torch relay activities. We have over now 50 million users of the applications, and they can participate in online activities of the games, which means that you can become a digital torchbearer of the event. And during the torch relay, you can participate in these activities online. I believe that this function is very effective and helpful. We hope that through this platform, the audience will enjoy better experience and better services. Thank you.
好，请继续提问。第一排。
专业设计的提问。杭州亚残运会呢是第4届亚残运会，那首届
Hangzhou Asian Paragames is the 4th Asia Paragames. The first was also held in China. What role does the games play in China's progress in the cause of disabled people? As you mentioned, this will be the 4th Asia Paragames, and the first was held in Guangzhou, China. It set a fine example for developing disabled people's sports in Asia. And this Asian Paragames will be a great example for promoting disabled people's sports in China. First of all, it helps to encourage more disabled people to participate in sports. As you know that athletes from all Asian countries are outstanding representatives of sportsmanship, and they will encourage more disabled people to participate in sports. When we talk to them, we learned that the reason why they participate in sports is actually because they were encouraged. When they watched the 2008 Paralympic Games in Beijing, and they felt encouraged. And they would also like the opportunity to strive for national pride. That's why we believe that this game is also an important game for this group, and it will be an encouragement for them to further integrate into the society. And secondly, it can also help enhance Chinese athletes' performance. Through participating in the games, our athletes compete with athletes from other Asian countries and regions, and they learn from each other. And we can also discover and cultivate more athletes to prepare for other major Paragames events. And third, it also promotes a development of the cause of disabled people in China. By hosting the Games, China enjoys an opportunity to improve our services for the disabled group, no matter in terms of accessible facilities or other services for this group. It will be a strong boost. Fourth, the Games can showcase China's progress in supporting the disabled people and our achievements in protecting human rights. It will not only be a sports event, but also be an opportunity for us to have exchanges in how to support and help disabled people in terms of education, employment, and providing them with better environment. We have made progress and achievements in those regards, and we are ready to have communication with our fellow Asian partners to jointly contribute to the cause of disabled people around the world and to building a community with a shared future for mankind. Thank you.
那边吧，第二排这位男记者。
好，谢谢主持人。来自中国日报社的记者，我们之
With
前也
China
了解到
Daily
杭州是目标把这届亚运会打造成一届，应该说世界上首个无废的这么一个国际
Zhejiang is
大型
trying to
综合
make
比赛
the Hangzhou Asian
也把
Games
这
the
个无废
first
城市的这个理念融
waste-free
入这个
major
筹备和
international
实
sports
施
events
我们到
and
底怎么
has integrated the
筹划
concept in
和实施才能保
preparation,
证
in
所有
holding
这
the
些贡
games,
献
and in
非法
after game
废物
utilization
能够能减尽
to
减可以尽
minimize
用并且做
solid
到完全
waste,
的无废的
maximize
处理。谢谢。
recycle, and 100% safe and hazard-free treatment. Can you tell us more about this?
这个
Thank you.
在亚运会筹办的过程当中，我们浙江啊始
During
终
the
坚
preparations,
持绿色、
we have
智能、
followed
节俭、
the
人
approach
民的
of green,
出台了无废
smart,
亚运
economical,
行
and
动方案，
ethical
发出
games.
了无废亚运
And we have
10条
made
倡议
action plans
推进
and
16
10
个无
proposals,
废
and we have
亚
pushed
运
forward
细胞
with
示范点建设，
16 pilot projects
全
of
力打造
waste-free
全球
Asian
首个
Games
大型无废赛事。
to deliver the
我想
first
这里呢，
waste-free
以我们场
major
馆建设
international
为
sports
例，
event in the
给大家
world.
做一个简要
I
的
would
介绍。
like to take the example of
在
the
场
construction
馆
of our
布局规
venues.
划阶段，我们遵循
In
能
planning
改
for
不
the
变、
sites,
能修不换、能租
We
不买的原则，充分利用
follow the principle
现有的
of
场馆和设施。
whenever we can adapt, we will not
这个开头
build.
我们
Whenever
杭
we
州市
can
姚市长
repair, we will not
在
replace.
介绍
Whenever
当
we
中
can
也讲
rent,
到了，
we will not purchase.
我们
To minimize the
54
impact
个
of
亚运
solid
场馆
waste
中
on environment.
有
Among
42
the
个
54
是改
venues,
建或者零建的，也就是说新建的只有12个。
only
19
12
个
were
亚
newly
残运
built.
场馆中，
Among the
有
19
17
Paragames
个是给
venues,
亚运会
17 of them
兼用的，
also host Asian Games
其余
competitions,
2个也
and
是
only 2,
这个改建的场馆。
the rest of 2 are
在场
adapted
馆的设
from
计阶段，
existing
我们制定
structures.
了第19届亚运会绿色健康建筑设计
In
导向，
design, we
通过
establish
优化
guidelines on green
建筑
and
结构的
healthy
设计
building
最大
design
限
for the
度
games.
利用清洁能源和可再生能源。
Through smart design of the
这个我们
structure,
许
we
多
have
场
maximized the use of clean
馆
energy
就
and
利用
renewable
自然采
resources,
光来节能，
such as
通过
natural
有
lighting
机
to
循环
reduce
体
energy
系
consumption,
来回收雨水
And we have established organic recycling system to collect rainwater and thermal power and other resources for further use. And we have reduced the solid waste from the source. We have prioritized green materials, green handling of construction debris, reduced solid waste from the very source and transformed them into resources. And in all areas, we have reduced waste from the source. For example, in accommodation and in paper-free operation, and we have promoted efficient materials, and we have integrated the waste-free concept into all links of the games.
The
Beijing Winter Olympics was successfully held and the anti-doping work was highly recognized by the International Olympic Committee and the International Testing Agency. Could you please introduce the anti-doping work of the Hangzhou Asian Games?
I will take this question. The anti-doping work is a very important aspect of organizing an international sports event. The Hangzhou Asian Games anti-doping work is responsible by the OCA. The OCA authorized international testing agencies to carry out the Asian Game pre-competition anti-doping education, test planning, and therapeutic use exemptions review, intelligence sharing, results management, and so on and so forth. It also authorized the China Anti-Doping Center as the sample collection agency. The Chinese Doping Control Laboratory is authorized as the sample testing agency, and International Court of Arbitration for Sports will manage hearing and appeals. The anti-doping program of the Games was strictly complied with the World Anti-Doping Code and relevant international standards, and will be implemented in accordance with the OCA anti-doping rules and Hangzhou Asian Game doping control guidelines. During the Games, 53 testing stations will be set up in competition venues and villages to conduct urine, blood, and DBS testing. For the first time, the Games will use our self-developed anti-doping intelligence managed platform to conduct paperless doping control and use made-in-China DBS testing equipment. At the same time, a variety of anti-doping education and activities will be conducted in the villages during the game. In order to create a clean competition environment, we, together with relevant departments, has carried out comprehensive doping management for the Games, guiding the organizing committee to prevent athletes from food, drug, and medicine-related doping. At the same time, the OCA, International Testing Agency, the General Administration of Sports, the Ministry of Public Security, the General Administration of Customs, the China Anti-Doping Center and Organizing Committee will also sign the MOU on anti-doping intelligence cooperation to jointly combat doping and achieve the goal of streamlined, safe, and splendid in organizing the game. Thank you.
谢谢主持人，新京报记者提问：杭州亚运会、亚残运会的场馆一共达到了56个，这个数量已经超过了奥运会。
There are 56 venues for the two games, more than the Olympic Games. Is this in line with the concept of organizing a streamlined event?
这个问题我来回答。
I will answer this question. The construction of venue and about taking an economic approach, as you mentioned. Well, as a matter of fact,
简约、安全、精彩，简约是摆在首位的。
economical, safe, and splendid is a very important requirement for the organization of this game. And taking an economic approach is a very important part of the whole preparation of the Hangzhou Games. From the recent major events, this has become a trend, a common sense, a consensus.
我个人理解，我觉得我们怎么样在场馆体现节俭，从
And from my perspective, it is also reflected in the following aspects. First, how to follow the principle of venues that can be renovated should not be built. Concerning the competition and training venues, most of them are renovated and temporary venues and are not newly built. On the principle of satisfying the operation of the games, we will not build unnecessary venues. Compared with previous Asian Games, our new venues are not too much. Compared to previous Olympic Games and Olympic Games, the number is huge, is relatively high, but however, we do have more sports and events. We have 40 sports and 483 events. That is to say, every venue in our game has a very tight schedule. And in some venues, some events even has to start even before the opening ceremony. So we determined the number of venues based on the needs, and we do need these many venues. Secondly, is about equipment. How to utilize these facilities of these games. And we focus on the principle of private investments are welcome to reduce public input. And this principle has been followed throughout the preparation. For example, areas that can be invested by the private sectors, we will not inject public input. And also the government purchase also depends on specific situation. If these facilities and equipment will be used after the games, it can be purchased. If it is not needed, then the venue, that is to say, the venue will be put for other uses. We will consider borrowing to reduce the investment. And also, third, is the sustainability of these venues, which is also considered as the legacy of the Asian Games. We have planned for post-games utilization even before the construction. This is the second half of the task that we will focus on. At the current standpoint, 51 venues now have operators after the games. Though the game is yet to be held, but 91% of the venues have already have the operators even after the games. So, taking an economic approach can be seen in all aspects of the preparation of the games. Thank you.
好，请继续提问。好，时间关系，我们最后一个题吧。这边第4排这位女记者。
谢谢主持人。南方日报南方家记者提问：我们了解到，在杭州亚运会延期以后，所有的竞赛场馆和训练
Question.
场馆
After the
全部
Games
都面
was
向了公众开
postponed,
放。
all venues of
开放了国
competition
内
and
综合性
training were
体育
open
赛
to
事
the
场
public,
次
becoming
体
the
育赛事
first
场馆赛前
of
向
such
全民
practice
健
in
身
China
和
for
群众
comprehensive
体育开放
sports
的先例。
venues to be
请
opened
问
before the
杭州亚
Games.
运会、亚
How
残运
will
会赛
them
后
be used after the
场馆
Games?
赛后将如何利用？谢谢。
Thank you.
杭州。
好的，这个问题其实我们姚市长已经讲到了一些啊。这个场馆的
This
赛后
part of
利用
the answer
大家
has
非
been
常
mentioned
关
by
注。
my
那么
colleagues,
我们
and
亚运
the
会、亚残运
post-game
会的场馆
utilization
呢，
of
主
the
要分两
venues
大类。
is one of the
第一
top
大类是大众化的场
areas
馆
of interest for
那么
many
大家老
people.
百姓都是可以去用的。
And
第二
first
类呢是比
category
较
of our
专业的一
venues
些场馆。
would be
那么我
for
们对
public
前一类
use,
大众化
and
的
the second
场馆
type
呢，
would be
就把它作为
professional
全民晋升的
venues.
重要
As
基
for the
地。
first
就
type,
是
we will
准备
make
一个
them
指导思想
basis
是要惠民开放。
open to
那
the
么有的
public
是
at an
免
affordable
费，比方
price.
说田径
Many
场、
of them
足球场
are
是免
free.
费，
For
有的
example,
呢就
track
是
and
低
field
价的
and
收一
football
些成本
courts.
费。那么
And
关
some
键
of
的就是
them
我们要
are
明确
available at a low
运行的
price.
主体。
And the
那么
most
我们最
important
大的特
thing
色
is
就是
to
我
make
们
sure that
引入
they
了
are
第三方
run
来管理
by
这些场馆。刚
proper
才我们姚市长讲
operators.
到，这个第三
Our
方来
highlight here is that
管了
we
以后
introduce
非常有经验，
third-party
然后
operators.
呢
They
可
are
以
very
把一些
experienced
信息
and
其他的一些赛事的信息
they
带进来。这是
can
第一
also
大类，
introduce
就是
best
大众化的
practices
场馆。
from
那
other
么专业性的
venues
场
and
馆呢，我
events.
们想有专
As
业的
for
队伍
professional venues,
来作为
the
集训
professional
的基地。
teams
那比
will
方绍
use
兴
these
的
venues as
望
training
球就成
bases.
为国家队的训练基地。比方说
A
射
stadium
击
in
射
Shaoxing
击的
will be used by the
这
national team, and
比
the
赛场馆
shooting
就成了我们杭州
venue
市这
will
个
be used
射击队的
by
这个运动基地。
Hangzhou
这
City
样的话呢，
shooting
把
team.
专业的场馆它的优势能够发挥出来。当然，
This is
无
the
论
best
是
way to
大众化的
use
场馆还
professional
是专业
venues.
性的场馆，
But no matter
我
for
们
the first or
多
the second
尽可能
category
的
of
希
the
望多
venues,
承接一些
we
赛
hope
事。
that
我们也得
they
努力
will
打造
host
赛事
more
赛会之争。
games and
同时，我
events.
们也可以举办一些文化
We
活
can
动，
also
一
hold
些
some
会
cultural
展，
events,
最大
such as
限
some
度地
conferences and
把场馆的
exhibitions
作用能够
to
发挥出来。我的回答就到这
make
里。
full use
好，
of
谢
the
谢各位发
venues.
布人，谢谢各位
Thank
记
you.
者朋友们，今天的
And
新闻发布会就
that
到这里，大家再见。
On that note, we will conclude today's press briefing. Thank you.
A press conference in Beijing where Chinese authorities briefed the media on the preparation for the Asian Games slated to be held in Hangzhou in September this year. And watching that press conference with me in the studio is Dong Jun from Culture and Sports of EI Asia Limited. Mr. Dong, fantastic to have you on our program today. What is your general impression of what was covered at that press conference? And after watching it, what highlights of the Asian Games this year will you personally be looking out for?
Well, you know, we all have very, very good impression of the Zhejiang or Hangzhou people. We know what they can do. We know how smart they are. So this press conference given by them may be a year after the previous schedule, but they are even more prepared and it's very well organized. They know so well what they would say to tell the country and even around the continent what's going on now and how prepared they are. I think they basically answered all the questions that would be outstanding for people curious about and also considering coming over to Zhejiang to be involved in the Asian Games. It would be a fantastic opportunity for us to experience one of the most industrious people or an area where we have the most advanced technological development over the last decade and how well they can organize a sporting event, which is the Asian Games is more than a sporting event, it's a cultural get-together. And I don't see any potential risks or uncertainties after hearing all the briefing deliberations and also answers to the questions. And for me personally, I don't represent the majority of their target audience. I think the Asian Games, as well as other Olympic-style sporting events, would primarily targeting the younger generation, of course, inclusive of other ages, people of ages. But for me, who started, following the Asian Games from 1984 in New Delhi, that's the 9th Asian Games. That's the point where Team China or delegation from China for the very first time to become an Asian power, dominating force, taking over, Japan as the #1 medal winners in Asia. And from that point on, China never looked back. And then 8 years later in Beijing, the Asian Games, the very first time a comprehensive sporting events to be held in China. And then 20 years later, it was Guangzhou hosting the Asian Games. And there are a lot of development for the Asian Games, and it's expanded. And don't forget, the ultimate owner of the Asian Games is the OCA, the Olympic Council of Asia. And the host city, by announcing that Hangzhou will be the host city, the official terminology would always be, now the honor goes to that city. It means that we are the owner at the Asian Olympic Council, but you have the opportunity to showcase your capability of putting together such an event. So I think, if people like me don't feel that kind of suspense or curiosity or all those fresh awareness about the Asian Games, it's been almost more than 40 years now. But for the younger generation, it's different. It is for people in Hangzhou and in Zhejiang, it would be the very first time in their lifetime to experience something. And also even for people in their 50s and 60s, it would still be a very different experience. When you get used to it. You no longer have the expectation for medal winning, and you want to enjoy this type of live reality show. You see people not even from China, maybe from Thailand, from Indonesia, to play a fantastic, entertaining game you've never seen before on TV, something like sepaktakraw, 藤球. It's so entertaining. It's played in Southeast Asia maybe only, but when you concentrate, you stay in the stadium and you watch the game to be played, and you enjoyed it so much. And it's much more than your past expectation in watching an Olympic-style sporting event. So I think, people should be very jealous.
Yes, a visual feast, visually very exhilarating for not just sports fans, but ordinary people as well.
That's why we don't call it sporting events anymore. We call it cultural or even lifestyle experience.
For sure. I do want to get into some of the specifics with you here. The Games have 56 competition venues, all up and running, 5 Asian Games villages and athletes sub-villages in Hangzhou, and 5 co-host cities in the province of Zhejiang. What are the benefits of holding the Games in multiple cities? You mentioned this was actually encouraged of large-scale sporting games. Now the whole cities would spread over a certain area.
Yeah, exactly, yes. Well, we don't deny that Hangzhou itself is already a metropolitan area, but in Zhejiang, it's a relatively economically more advanced and developed province in China. And we have several cities out there, and Zhejiang have several cities in the neighborhood of Hangzhou that can share the opportunity and also try to minimize, or when we say it should be as economical as possible, that means that you try to use those available venues without spending much extra money modifying it or building new ones. When we rule out the possibility of building new ones, especially for Winter Olympics and now Summer Olympics and Summer Asian Games as well. And I think if you look at the northern or part of Zhejiang economics picture, and you definitely understand, because in some other countries like in England, the UK or Japan, the city or so-called city of London or Tokyo is much more sprawling and much more spreaded area, much more than an urban area but so you can say it's the greater Hangzhou area, although technically they are 5 administrative urban areas. But economically it makes sense. And also it involves more people from a broader area, from northern and some other parts of Zhejiang. And also don't forget, when the Olympic Games would be requiring more concentrated of events, spreading not too far from the central area. This is the Asian Games. That means the participants or the spectators or the TV viewers or online viewers of the Asian Games are from a narrower zone, time zones. They are from Asia. They are fine to follow the relatively more spreaded, sprawling, arranged events. It's fine for Asians to follow those events in an area a little bit larger than Hangzhou itself.
Right. We don't have a lot of time left. Can you just briefly help us understand the global level of competitive Asian sports now?
Yes, whenever the Olympic Games comes to Asia, like in Tokyo last year, and there are very fierce competitions in certain sports among the Asian competitors, like volleyball, like badminton, ping pong, gymnastics. So yeah, Asian people are naturally or more development sense more concentrated on certain sports. But at the same time, the Asian Games also don't spare any efforts to be inclusive, to allow people in some other sports to be involved and to be able to showcase their culture, like kabaddi or like jiu-jitsu, which is popular in Japan. But the international attention to Hangzhou now is about two very particular events. One is cricket, which is so popular but outside the Olympic Games, but popular globally, has its own market value. And the other one, if you pay attention, is rugby 7. Rugby is also can be very, very wealthy, pocket deep event. They have a lot of expectations in Hangzhou Asian Games and see their opportunities to be emerging from the Asian Games on, that they can come to China, come to Asia to develop commercially and professionally rugby and as well as cricket.
A lot to watch out for, Mr. Deng. We appreciate your analysis as always. Thank you so much for coming in. All right, that does it for me, Zhongshi. More to come on CGTN. Sports Scene is up next.